Welcome back. So, if you haven't watched the first part of the tutorial that has been uploaded, be sure to check out the page to watch how I got to make these chess pieces. What we'll be doing is continuing trying to get the glass effect for the chess pieces. So, there's a few things that we need to first do. Firstly, create the material on the chess pieces. Now, there are only 6 pieces here. I will make the rest. Let's just first make the material. So I will just click on the pawn and go to material at the bottom right. And let's make a new material. So we're going to click on new. And you will see we have all of these options here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this specific material in the shading tab. So up top here, you can see we're currently in the layout tab. I will do the shading in the shading tab. This just makes it a lot more easier and I'll be able to manipulate it a lot better in this tab. So once you click on it, you have a different layout of your screen. You'll see there's this thing over here. If you click on it, this is your camera. We'll worry about the camera later. For now, I'm just going to zoom in. There we go. So this is currently how our pieces look. Remember, if it has no material, it will just be in white. So I'm going to click on the pawn and you'll see when I click on it, this appears. That's because I have created a material for the pawn. I don't have one in the castle or the rook because there's nothing created yet. Okay, so let's just focus on this piece. Let's do things one at a time. These are called nodes. So we have something called Principal BSDF, which you saw on the material tab. If I click on the material, you'll see here's it here as well. So this just has it more in detail as to, okay, what you want your base color to be. So if I just click on here, I can just change it and you can see how changes are applying. You will also notice in our shading tab, if I go here on top, we have it previewing in material preview. If I click on viewport shading, it's back to the gray. But if I go back here, you can see we can now see the reflections change. You can go into render view, but you'll see we haven't sorted out our lighting yet, so we're not going to see everything correctly or accurately right now. So for now, let's just explain all of these things. So metallic changes how metallic you want the material to be. So if I just bump it up all the way here, you can now see I have like a metallic looking piece. The roughness changes how smooth or how reflective you want the surface to be. So if I want it to be like a very shiny metallic piece, you can change it like that. You guys can go ahead and customize it however you want. Right, then the alpha just changes how transparent it is. So as you can see here, it's kind of see-through and you guys can just play around and customize it. But if you want yours to look like mine, this is what you need to do. So you have your Principal BSDF, you have all of these settings, you don't need to worry about these for now. And then you can see this guy connects to the material output. If I disconnect it, you can see my changes no longer reflect because the material output says, how do you want your material to preview? And if you connect it to the output, it's going to say, okay, whatever's here, whatever's connected to the output, that is going to reflect. Okay, so I'm going to add in a few nodes of my own to get my pawn looking the way I want. So I'm going to click on the principled BSDF and I'm going to delete it. You press X to delete. I'm going to add in something called emission. Now, emission is something that makes it glow. I kind of want that glowing effect. So to add that, you press Shift A. You'll now see it says add, and you can search for it. Just type in emission and click on it. You'll now see you have a new node. I'm going to place it over here. Now you'll see this thing isn't glowing. That's because it's not connected to the surface. You will also see you can't really see it glowing in this material preview mode. If I go to render mode, you can now see it's glowing. So I think I'll work in render mode for this one, just to show you how my material is changing in real time. Okay, I'm also going to add a different node called a glass BSDF because I do want glass pieces and I want it to look like a glass. And I'm going to place it here. But I cannot just connect this as well to the surface. because that will now deselect. You can see I have like a glass effect, but I also want the emission effect. So to combine both of these shaders, you're going to add a mix shader. So mix shader just allows you to combine as many different shaders as you want into one. So I'm going to Shift A, click on search for mix shader. I'll put it here, and now you can see I have space to add a shader here and a shader here. And then I will connect this to my surface. And now I get both the gloss effect and the emission glow effect. But it doesn't look quite great right now. So I'm going to change the colors. For the emission, I will make this piece, we're doing pink, so I'll make it a pink. And as you can see, it changes in real time in render mode. So I'll choose something like this. Okay, if you want it to be darker, you can also change how dark it is, but you don't want it too dark because you can also see the amount of glow that's going to appear is disappearing. So I'll place it around on top still. And for the glass BSDF, I will also change the color of the glass to pink. Now you can see it's starting to look a lot better. And that is it. For the strength, however, I do want it to just make the glow a bit stronger. So I'm going to change it from 1 to 3, and there we go. Now, if you don't like the way how it looks, you can obviously just play around according to your preference. I will put in 3 because that's what I'm happy with. Okay, so this material, I will just call this, let's rename this to Pink Glow. Okay, and I'm going to click on Save. So now what I can do, instead of redoing all that steps to the other chess pieces, I can just assign the material to them. So if I click on Rook and I click on this icon at the bottom here, it shows me what materials have I created. So I have a pink glow. So I will just assign it there and I can see it has the exact same material as the pawn. So let's do the rest of the other pieces. And just like that, we have glowing chess pieces. If you want that glow effect to just emphasize it a bit more, you would need to go in your compositing settings. And you need to place in a few notes there to change it. But before we do that, I need to set up a camera and render at least one picture. To do that, I'll go back to layout view. I'll change it to render mode. So this is what I can currently see. And I'm going to press 0. 0 is the shortcut to go into your camera view. So when I press 0, this is currently how my camera is showing. It's showing, okay, if I have to render out this image, it's in this position. And you can see my chess pieces are quite small in this case. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to click on the camera. And you'll see we have these icons here. There's also a lock type of symbol. If I click on the lock, and if I move around my scene, my camera is now moving. If that lock is off, and I do the same thing, you can now see it's not moving the camera. I'm actually no longer in the camera view. So I'm going to press 0 again to go into the camera view, click on the lock, and I'm going to now change the camera angle while the lock is on. This is the fastest way to change it. You can also press N to open up this side and then change the location of your camera. You can do it manually like this, but I find it easier and faster when I'm in camera view and I have the lock on and I can just change it. So I'm just going to show all the chess pieces for now quickly. This isn't going to be the final. The final is going to show with the chess pieces and everything. But for now, this should work. So once the camera is set up, you now want to see, okay, how do you want your view to show? How do you want the environment to be? Do you want it to be like in an indoor environment? I want it to be like in a dark space because I want the glow to really be emphasized in the dark space. So at the bottom here on the left, you see this world icon. Click on that. And currently, my world is set to gray. If I change it, you can now see you can change the color of your background. This is the world environment. I want it completely black, so I'll choose black. And the strength just means how much you want it to appear, like how bright. So if I just quickly go here and I change the strength, you can now see it's becoming brighter. I'm going to put the strength on 0 because I do want complete darkness. And there we go. So now this is how it looks. your camera is set, you now want to render your image. But before I render my image, I have my chessboard disabled from preview. I just re-enable it. You can now see it's like on top of everything. I'm going to just move it down because although it's disabled in my preview mode, if I'm going to render out this image, the chessboard's going to appear like blocking that, and I don't want that. Okay, so just move it down and then render your image. You can press F12 as the keyboard shortcut, or you can click on top here, render image, and your image should just render. So just wait for it to finish render. You'll see you have samples number. I made my sample size 10. If yours is in the thousands, you probably want to change it before you start rendering. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait a while until it's fully rendered. Okay, so my image finished render. Once it renders, now you can go into the compositing tab. I'm going to enable use nodes. This is what I need to do. And now I can see the image that we just rendered appears. If you did not render your image and you click on use nodes, nothing would display. You have to make sure you have use nodes enabled. Okay, so to create this glow effect, we need to add a glare node. So click on Shift A and type in glare. If you're using one of the older versions of Blender, there was a shortcut, there was like an option where you have like a bloom effect where you can just tick. In the newer versions of Blender, that is no longer available. So we just use a glare node. Now what you'll see in real time, the glare is actually appearing. If I just delete the glare node again, and I just reconnect this, you can now see there is no glow. So I'm going to put my glare node back, but I don't like the way this glare is showing. I don't like how sharp the corners are, and it's all your preference. If you like it, you can keep it. But if you don't want it, you can change it over here. So it's currently set to streaks. I usually go for fog glow, but you can explore with all the different options. So this is kind of the effect I want. If you want to do bloom, you can. Bloom is more of like an intense version of the fog glow. Here you have ghosts, you have and simple star. So just choose whichever you'd like. I will choose fog glow. And I'm going to make the quality high. And you can just play how intense you want the glow, the strength, the saturation. You can play with the size as well. I'm just going to keep it the same because I'm happy with how it looks. Okay, once you're done with this, if I go back to my layout view, you will notice my changes are not showing here. And that's because it's not enabled in this view. So to enable it, you click on the drop down over here, and you'll see the compositor is set to disabled. So you can see we were working the compositing tab. So whatever has been done in the compositor tab, it is disabled. You can choose if you want it to only be seen in camera view. So I'm currently in camera view. If I'm going out of camera view, you can see it's no longer being displayed. Or you can just choose for it to always show, regardless whether you're in camera view or normal view. And I can see it's starting to take place. Okay, I'm going to go back to material shading because I want to just place all my chess pieces in the correct places. Okay, so I'm going to press 7 to go to top view, and you'll notice the way I've modeled my whole chessboard, it is kind of small, the chess pieces, whereas the chessboard's quite large. So I'm just going to change the scale. You click on your chessboard, press S to scale, and I think this is about fine. That seems fine. Remember to apply your scale, press Ctrl A, and you click on scale to apply. Okay, so this is more of an appropriate size. Now what I'm going to do is place all of the chess pieces in the appropriate places. So if you don't know how chess pieces are placed, you can always use Google, check for references, and then just place it accordingly. So you can decide how you want to place it. You could place an actual chessboard layout with pieces everywhere, or you could just place it like a normal chessboard with all the pawns in front and a normal layout. You can decide, it's all up to you. I will first do the normal chessboard layout. So I'm going to click on this piece and I'm going to press G to move it. So this is the pawn. And I'm going to press 1 to go into front view to see, okay, how far is it from the chessboard? So now you can just press G, press Z to lock it on the Z axis, and place it down on your chessboard. You can zoom in a bit more to see, okay, where it's touching. Press G, Z, and there we go. And I'll just move all the chess pieces at the same time. Bring it down. Yeah, that seems about fine. And now you can start placing it however you want to. So I'm going to press on 7 again. And I'm going to populate this row with pawns because that's how the normal chessboard layout is. So I will press Shift D to duplicate. But to lock it going to according to the left and right side, you can see on this axis type of thing, you can see left and right is on the x-axis. So I will press X, and I can see it locks it on the x-axis. And I'll just do that. So Shift D, X. Ta-da! We are done with the pawns. Now let's move these guys in their correct places. So this is the rook. I'm going to press G, and the rooks are in the corners. Going to duplicate it. This is the knight. The knight is next to the rook. If you want to rotate it as well, if you don't like how he's looking that direction, press 7, press R as the shortcut to rotate, and now you can turn the horse around. And we have our first half of the chess pieces. So I'm now going to duplicate this. Just click on the folder, right click, duplicate collection, and now you have a duplicate. I will rename this to purple chess piece. Now, what I'm going to do is select all the pieces in this folder, and I'm going to move it by pressing G, and I'll lock it according to the y-axis. And then I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to left click once, press R to rotate all the pieces, and there we go. Ta-da! But now they're all pink, and I don't want that. So I'm going to create a material for purple pieces. So click on the piece, go back to your shading tab, and you will see this piece is also in pink, but I want it to be purple. Now, if you just go ahead and change it here, every single material that is assigned with this will now change their color. And now you can see these pieces are also the same, and we don't want that. So we need to create a brand new material for these guys separately. So you can copy and paste this, copy it, click on this guy. Over here on the left, go to your material tab and click plus. So we're going to add a new material. Press new, and you'll see we have the default principled BSDF. Just delete that by pressing X, and then paste in the previous nodes that you just copied, connect it to here, and now we are going to change the color. So now you're going to click on this material, go to your material tab, and press on the plus icon because we want to add a new material. I will then click on the pink glow and subtract that one because I want to remove that material. And there I will press on new. So now I'm adding a brand new material. Delete your principal BSDF, paste in the previous nodes, and connect it. And I'm going to now change the colors. I'm happy with that. I'm going to rename this material to purple glow. And now I'm going to assign all of these other pieces with that material. And there we are. We have a complete chessboard. Now, if you don't like the lighting, you want to add more lights, we can do that. So I'll go back to my layout tab. I'll switch to render mode because I can only see the lights, how it really reflects in render mode. You will also see in render mode, we have this grid in the back. If you do not like that or don't want to preview it, you can just switch it off by pressing this icon here on top. So I'll just leave it on because I want to see everything. To add in a light, press Shift A. So we have 4 different types of lights you could add: point, sun, spot, and area. I'll be making use of the area lights. You guys can explore with what type of light you want to work with and how it affects your scene. So this is currently what it looks like when I add a point light. It's not very attractive right now. So what I like to do is, I don't really like how this looks. So I like to split my screen into a camera preview mode and a workspace mode. So I like to work in object mode when I'm working with lighting because it's just a lot easier and smoother and faster to work with as well. So when setting up your lights, I love to split up my screen. So place your cursor on the top left corner. You will see it turns into this weird 4 lines. Click and drag and let go. You'll now see I have duplicated or split my screen. So in this preview, I will change it to render mode. I will also press 0 for camera view, and I'll just get rid of all of these extra things that I don't need. So this just makes it a bit more clear for me as to how everything's going to be displayed. I don't really like how my camera is set up in this position, so I'll just enable this icon again, click on the lock, and put in the camera placement that I want. That should do for now. Let's sort out the light. So we currently have one area light above the whole board, but that doesn't really look good. Before I do that, let's just move the chess pieces to the way I want it to be previewed. So I'm going to go to material so I can see the checks on my chessboard, and let's play around with the layout. So this is the position I'm going to have for the chess pieces. Now let's sort out the light. I'm going to scale down the light, and I want to put it behind my king piece. So this is how I want to make the king the center of the image. So let's put the light behind the king. Now you can see the king has that glow, but it's too intense. So you can click on your light, scroll here at the bottom, go to data, and you can change how bright you want the light. You can also change the color of it. What color do you want this light to be? And I think that's fine. The chess pieces, it is a bit too bright, so to change that, this is all about preference. I'm going to go to my shader tab, and I will click on the pink piece, and I'll probably change the strength to maybe 2. Do that for both colors. Okay, that looks a lot better. Go back to the layout tab, and it's starting to look a lot better. So currently the chess pieces don't really look transparent. To fix that, you go to click on one of your pieces, go to your material tab, and go on the surface, and you'll see we have a factor over here. Change that, just bring it up a bit, and you'll see it's starting to get more transparent and glossy. So just change this according to your preference. You can go all the way to 1, but you'll see it's a bit difficult to see within the dark, so I'll probably make it 0.9 or 0.99 and do the same for the other color as well. Okay, now you can see the chess pieces are actually a bit dark. So let's just go back to your shading and just adjust it according to your preference. Hey, now the light is a bit too bright, so I will lower the power and also just make the light longer. So I'm going to scale it along the Z-axis. Now the final step. Before we render out this chessboard, I want to have like a depth of field type of thing. So the focus in this composition is the king. So I want the king to be in focus. So to add depth of field, to make everything else blurry, you will select your camera and scroll until you find the depth of field box. Enable that, and now you can see it's applying in real time. So you can see everything is blurry. Now you can choose which object you want to focus on. So in this case, I want to focus on the king. Click on the drop down, choose your king object, and now you will see it's more in focus, whereas the background is more blurry. You can change how blurry you want it to be. Change the f-stop. If you lower it, you can see everything becomes more blurry. But if you make it too low, your subject also doesn't become too clear. If you make it really high, everything else, more objects in the back will become more clear. So just play around within 2 to 5 range. That should be fine. So once you've sorted the depth of field on your camera, you're pretty much done. You can also change whether if you want your chessboard to glow. So you can click on your chessboard. So in your shading tab, go to material preview. And to isolate the chessboard alone, because it's kind of busy right now, you can click / on your keyboard and it just isolates it alone. It hasn't deleted anything. It's just so it's easier for you to work in this view. So if I click on my chessboard, if you watched part 1 of the tutorial, we've created a glass material and the purple. If you want to make the whole chessboard as well, where it glows, go into tab, edit mode. So click on tab, select everything, and add a new material. And this material, we're going to just make it an emission. So we're going to delete the principal BSEF, Shift A, search emission, and connect it. And you can change the color and how strong you want it. And then click on assign. So the whole board's going to be glowing. You guys can just play around with how you want your board to be customized. And yes, you can just follow the exact same steps you did with the chess pieces itself. All right, so we are pretty much done. Now the last step, if you want this as an image, you can click on render, render image, let it render out, and you have made your very first glass 3D chess. You can also save this image, and now you can brag to your Blender friends. You've made a 3D chess board with chess pieces. Hope you guys had fun. If you haven't watched part 1, please watch that tutorial first. There I show you how to make the chess pieces and the chessboard. And I will send a link in the description of all the shortcuts that I've used. And I'll also link the Blender file that you guys can just download for free. Thank you so much. Please do like and subscribe.